YA. Now, keep in mind, I have written a lot of adult books, but YA is my first love, and it's what I started writing. It wasn't published when I went out to adult, and I came back to YA. I was reading L.J. Smith before she was big. So her, what was it, Night World series, loved. And of course, J.K. Rowling, loved. And I really love Neil Gaiman, pretty much anything he writes. I'm very influenced by. And people are like, oh, you must love George R.R. Martin because your book is compared to Game of Thrones. Well, I really love the series, the TV show, but I actually have never read the books. But I started them, I got intimidated because they're so good, and I stopped reading.
I know. I do that sometimes too. If I'm reading someone's novel that is just so amazing.
Right. Yeah.
Like, oh, I just gotta. My self-esteem can't take it.
That's right. Yeah. So, and Rochelle Lee's writing.
I think, well, these are good examples. One of the writers that I love, of course, everybody loves Jane Austen. She's great. She's very witty. She's very smart, and I like smart women. And the other one that I love is Edith Wharton. She wrote Ethan Frome and The Age of Innocence and House of Mirth and some short stories. Ethan Frome is actually my favorite novel. It's a novella, so it's pretty short. I don't reread books very often, but I've reread this a couple times. And I guess how it influenced me was not every story has to have a happy ending. It could be tragic. I mean, maybe that's sad. But you could still learn a lot from a story where not everything goes according to plan. So you got a little bit of a bittersweet ending. I think that's what I learned, or bittersweet endings. And Edith Wharton definitely knows how to deliver those. So I really like her.
Still satisfying endings.
Satisfying, but sad, exactly.
For me, I'm a big superhero fan. I'm not like Big Bang level at all. I'm not that nerdy. But I always loved watching like Wonder Woman and the old $1 Million Man and all those fun superhero kind of stuff. So superheroes have always been big for me. Anybody that knows me knows my story about how I started writing, which was just 5 years ago. I never thought I was going to be an author at all. I was going to be a teacher or an interpreter, and that's what I was doing. And then my sister brought me the Twilight book, and it kind of changed my whole life pretty much, because that was my first YA book that I ever read. I didn't know YA existed, because I'd always been a big romance reader, and then I kind of stopped reading romance and started reading like, Harry Potter and stuff like that, and I really like Aragon, and I really like that, but I missed the romance part, and so, but I didn't want the whole romance part, and so when my sister gave me the Twilight books, I was like, this is exactly what I want, because it's got the adventure, some paranormal stuff, and just enough romance to leave me happy. And so, and I had just watched a documentary on J.K. Rowling, and like Stephanie Meyer, she was a welfare mom. She was a mom, basically, who got up and wrote a book. And I didn't know that authors could be like normal people. All Yale graduates and literary professors, and could just recite Shakespeare in their sleep. And so I'm like, well, maybe I should try. And that's kind of really what inspired me to start, was that. And so I kind of haven't looked back since. So those, I would say probably the Twilight books and the Harry Potter books are probably, and it's more the authors, I think, even than the books, that are the most influential over me as a writer and kind of got me going.
I love that you chose Twilight. Was that so much hate?
It's a lot of hate. I know, it's hard.
I love it. I love Twilight. I liked as the series went on. Twilight was my favorite. I just feel like it went downhill, but for me. But I remember reading Twilight for the first time. You could not tear me away from that book.
Yeah.
I loved
Very
it.
readable.
Yeah. The first YA book that I read that I really loved too was Graceling by
Cashore.
Yes, Kristen Cashore. So Graceling, has a fantasy, political intrigue, romance. Just it was amazing. That was another one that I just put down.
Oh, and Hunger Games.